it's just gonna wink out of existence forever.
Proud of that one, aren't you?
Yeah, it'll do. Like you say.
So, Dewey came to you looking for a home for his purloined heroin. I'm just gonna assume you sent him to one of your old Bennett dealers. But I don't have to find him there, do I? I mean, Boyd and Darryl would have put the word out, so the first thing that dude's gonna do is call one of them. So all I gotta do is go back and wait for them to come home with it. So all that's left for me to do here is say thank you for your help, unwitting as it may have been. Good to see you, Dickie, especially in here.
Hey, can you hear this, Raylan, or you need me to turn it up?
It's so good because it's like a Sherlock Holmes almost sort of thing, you know. Because Raylan, when he's in that room, by the time Dickie says he wants to go to a hospital prison and be in long-term care, Raylan already knows how he's going to catch Boyd and Darryl.
Yeah.
He already knows. He knows how he's going to do it. He's already outsmarted Dickie Bennett, and yet he knows Dickie Bennett so well. He gives him another opportunity and says, hey, you know what? We can make a deal for some better arrangements for you in here. He's offering that to Dewey or to Dickie, even though he doesn't have to, giving him the opportunity because he knows Dickie's going to turn him down.
Yeah.
And then just the self-satisfaction in Raylan at the end of that clip when he's like, I figure I just got to watch him bring the heroin back and then I get him. I don't really care what happens to him in between. And to see Dickie just lose all hope in that moment.
Yeah,
is
he just gets
wonderful.
so deflated.
Just deflated. He's there in that wheelchair. He looks as pathetic as anything. And he was so happy and then so deflated.
That's like the long version of that. Oh, that schoolyard retort, up your ass and around the corner.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You follow that Route 9 all the way down until you're pointing at your asshole. I do love the whole concept of his asshole swallowing his entire existence.
Yeah.
He disappeared up his own ass.
It was great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love to see Dickie Bennett again. I love the character. I think it's fantastic that they kept him alive. I think introducing him into this season was great. I love Dickie and Dewey on screen at the same time. This made me very, very happy. This little segment here in the middle.
Does he come? He does get out of prison next season, right?
Dickie?
Is that? Oh no,
No.
I'm trying to think. Okay, all right.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we see Dickie Bennett next season.
No,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure we don't, but I'm not 100% positive because of it revolving around the business that he used to be in. But I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure we don't see Dickie.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, much as we anticipated, Dickie goes back to Dewey rather goes back to one of Dickie's old dealers who, Cyrus, we've seen this guy before. He stalls the transaction and eventually Danny shows up to take back the heroin. And Dewey and Danny fight a little bit. And they're sniping at each other and they're pointing guns at each other. And eventually Cyrus gets a little upset and decides he's going to start running the show. And he calls Dewey. Did you hear him call Dewey Crazy 88?
Crazy. Yeah, it was like Crazy 88 or Crazy 8.
I thought he said Crazy 88. But
Okay.
maybe he didn't. Maybe he said Crazy 8. I couldn't figure out what the reference was. The Crazy 88 was was Kill Bill. I remembered that.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking maybe it's some sort of Kill Bill reference. Maybe he looks with the short pants and the combat boots or whatever. Maybe he looks kind of like that army that they sent in with all the katanas. I don't know. But anyway, he takes back he takes his bricks of heroin. He gets the exchange facilitated, and he gives Dewey a 2-minute head start on Danny, which is important because Danny's looking to make Dewey pay. And Dewey gets away, and we don't know where Dewey ends up. But we do know where Danny ends up, and we'll get to that momentarily. First, we gotta talk about Ficus. So,
Oh, jeez.
so Albert Ficus is at the bar. He's talking to Terry. Terry is attempting to seduce him and succeeding because Ficus is so oblivious he thinks she's actually into him. And they leave together, and Boyd follows, and Boyd takes Ficus prisoner, and he's got him tied to a chair, and he wants him to recant. And Ficus refuses. He won't recant. He says he's not going to do it. And Boyd can't figure out why. And Ficus is like, I love her, man, basically. He did it, essentially, he claims that he did this. He's an incel who's fixated on Ava, wants to protect her. The only way to protect her was for him to get hurt somehow, and so she could be safe, and he can, where he knows she is in that prison. And he's just an incel lunatic, basically, is what he ends up being. And I can't tell. Boyd refrains from hurting him and killing him. Right? Boyd doesn't do anything to him. He lets him go. Doesn't make him recant. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he was thinking back on what Ava said and decided he didn't want to do any more violence for her. Because we see the violence does take it out of Boyd. He doesn't like the violence, especially to people who aren't in the game. He really doesn't like the violence to those people.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it was that, and so he didn't want to do violence for Ava anymore, or if he was just tired of punching down when he's killing, because he had to kill that guy in the nursing home. They had to drag him out of the nursing home and kill him. Now this guy who's completely defenseless, like Ficus has no ability to fight back or anything. Like, is he willing to do violence to this guy who's completely defenseless? And maybe he's tired of punching down now. I don't know.
That's a good question, because I think what Ficus, his reasoning, I don't know, maybe it kind of hit home for Boyd in a way.
I guess it could have, yeah. Oh, he's just trying to protect her, just kind of like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, he was like such a strange character anyway, and I don't think we even resolve. It's not really. It doesn't really resolve, or we don't figure out why he hurt himself. Really, I mean,
nope.
If you buy it, I find it hard to buy like impaling yourself or stabbing yourself for love.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, I obviously he thinks it's love, whatever, weird fixation he has in his brain, but
yeah. And I guess he does have like he's off his meds. It's implied, I think. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like, he says he's supposed to take something and he doesn't take it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's poorly fleshed out. If it is indeed mental illness, it was poorly kind of done. It could have been a little bit better explaining his motivations, but ultimately what we see is Boyd having an opportunity to force him to recant, not deciding to not take that opportunity and releasing Ficus. So Ava is not going to get out of prison unless Ficus decides of his own volition and the kindness of his heart to recant his statement, which he wouldn't do because there would be severe personal consequences for him. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what else. There's a couple other little sort of miscellaneous things that happen in between here. Danny finds out that Chelsea's dead. And then there's this whole confrontation that leads to Kendall exposing that Danny killed JB, also Jean-Baptiste. And so Danny's super pissed at Kendall, and this is right before Daryl sends Danny out to get the heroin and sends Kendall out to dig a hole. He tells him to dig a hole for Chelsea's body and to go bring the body back from the street, which he does. And then, the promise is when you get back with the heroin, we're going to have us a family meeting because there's a lot of stuff that the Crows need to talk about. The only problem is when Danny gets back with the heroin, Raylan is waiting, just as he promised he would be when he had the conversation with Dickie Bennett. And he's there to take the heroin. And we have a clip of that. We have a clip again, the clip of the second half of that confrontation after Raylan makes Danny Crow what I think is a very fair deal, and I think Danny Crow agrees with me, and we'll listen to that.
You see the favor?
I do, and I appreciate it, sir. But I ain't done mourning yet.
How old was she?
Over 6. Why?
Was that about 40-something in dog years? I mean, you're about 30.
What's it matter?
You slide your hand any closer to that gun, you're gonna meet Chelsea's fate at a much younger age than she did.
Say we go about it a different way.
Different how?
How far apart you reckon we are?
20 feet, give or take.
All right. That's about far enough.
Far enough for what?
You ain't never heard of the 21-foot rule before?
Can't say I have. Me, I'm good to 50, 75 yards. 21 feet, that's like standing plumb in front of the target. I guess the question is, how good a shot are you? You sure you thought this through, Danny?
Let's just see.
Well, first let me explain.
We have what I've labeled the second most hilarious death in Justified.
They really don't do it too often, right?
No,
I mean,
they don't.
Like,
but we get one next season that is an all-timer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But this one is, other than so far in Justified, the most hilarious death in Justified. Where, I mean, basically what we see Danny Crow run at Raylan with the knife in his hand, fall into the grave that's been dug for Chelsea, and impale himself through the bottom of his mouth up into the top of his head on his knife, and dies. Basically, probably in a pleasant way, like drowning on his own blood. Probably what was happening there. So yeah, not great. A couple of things about this. So it's a great sequence. It's a great scene. Raylan offers him, hey, admit what's in the bag, turn it over. I'll take you in. We don't take anybody else in. How does Raylan put that? He calls it eschewing the collateral damage, which is...
You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Our word of the week. Eschew is deliberately avoid using or abstain from. It's a verb. And we could have done any number of words of the week this week. We had wherewithal, Dickie Bennett saying he's the only one who had the wherewithal to give Raylan the information he needs. Handsome attaché from Raylan. We had Dickie saying the fabled catbird seat, which was one of my favorite sort of turns of phrase that Dewey's ever done. This is really interesting because I had to look up the origin of it. Apparently, it originated from Australian birds who build a throne of rocks for their mate. And so the male birds build these thrones of rocks, and their chosen mates, sit on them. And so that's the catbird seat. That's an Australian bird. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, askew is our word of the week. I like that word. And so we get Raylan making this offer. We get Danny falling on his own knife. Nobody gets arrested. Nobody gets shot. But Danny Crow is dead. And I'm sorry to see him go because I think Danny Crow and the actor who plays Danny Crow are the best of the Crow family. Is the best of the Crow family. I think he plays a very authentic redneck Florida hillbilly kind of guy. It feels good to me. His accent is consistent. His performance is good. I like him a lot. I think he does a really, really good job. And so I'm sorry to see him go because I like Danny Crow. What do you think?
And he has the way he leaves. I guess we should have expected it, right? I mean,
yes.
Like he wanted a big showdown, and there was the build up, and it's